Welcome to Sure Thing. We're Lakey Peterson
and Kaylee Gilchrist, two athletes who love exploring the world and sharing our stories.
We'll be taking you through the good times, the tough times, and everything in between.
Basically, it's about chasing dreams, staying inspired, and having fun along the way.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Here we are, another episode of the Sure Thing podcast, hosted by Kaylee Gilchrist and Lakey Peterson. And I am very excited to introduce our guest today, Maddie Woepse, who I am lucky enough to call a very dear friend. She is one of the best water polo players to ever play the game and is a stud. We're going to hear all about her story. It might pull at the heartstrings because she's got a very inspiring story. She lost her husband, Patrick Woepse, but I got a firsthand view of how she navigated that journey, and it was one of the most inspiring journeys I've ever seen and witnessed. So we're excited to share all about that and what grief is like and all the hard things that come. But Maddie, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, you guys. I'm excited. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. We're going to cue the chaos. So before the tears start, we're going to just start nice and easy. So cue the chaos. We ask 5 questions. Answer them as quick as you can.
Okay.
What is your coffee order?
Recently, it's just been an iced Americano with a little splash of whole milk. Wow. Kind of boring, but
Pat taught you some coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But yeah, he was like cortado, simple. We call it the Court Patrick now. So.
Love that. A song that gets you amped before a big moment.
I'm kind of boring. I go country music. So, yeah, I don't listen to rap or anything like that anymore. So probably Luke Combs, one of the songs. No specific song. But
one training hack you swear by.
Oh my gosh, answer quickly. I feel like you and I actually did this a lot. Like getting a sweet treat. I feel like during a training week or something that's hard, whether it's like before a game, after a game, like croissant or like a nice little brownie, I feel like a sweet treat kind of breaks up training. I know I'm not sure if that's kind of answering the question.
Maddie and I would probably have a coffee and a treat between every single practice or right before every single game.
It's a fact.
Keeps
you happy.
Yeah.
You got it.
We played well.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. What's your go-to guilty pleasure?
Ooh, honestly, what we just talked about, probably a sweet treat. So like banana bread, I've been making it like once a week.
Nice.
Pretty good. Chocolate chip cookies. My mom's chocolate chip cookies are so good. That's like my guilty pleasure.
All right. What's one habit, mindset, or quote that's changed your life the most?
Oh, guys. I would probably say we can do hard things.
Yeah. It had to be that.
Yeah. I think obviously there's a lot of like, I'm very faithful. So I have a lot of Bible verses that I enjoyed, but Pat had the motto, we can do hard things, which we'll talk about later. But that's been like, it always circulates in my head.
So it was really fun because we interviewed Kate Fahey. She's pickleball #2 in the world last podcast. And she mentioned that for the same answer, the same question. Same question. She, we can do hard things. And I had to pause her and like tell her a little bit about Pat's story.
Oh, that's
her story. So yeah.
I feel like I've seen a lot of people that have caught on to or like have said it. I'm like,
yeah.
Is it you just saying that or do you like know that I like that's my motto?
I know. It's so awesome.
It's very cool.
Well, good job. You completed Cue the Chaos. Not too bad. Broke the ice. But let's take it back a sec. Take us back to just growing up, how you got obviously into water polo. You became such a phenom, still are in sport. Where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like? And then how'd you get into this journey of becoming one of the best in the world with water polo?
Yeah, so I grew up in Newport, similar to Kaylee. I'm on the other side of the bay. So I went to CDM, but I grew up in the Port Streets, which they had like 2 local pools. So we had the killer whales and the dolphins that always competed against each other. So my parents are from the East Coast. They played sports. My dad played professional baseball. My mom played soccer. And so I like knew I was going to be in a sport probably from a young age, didn't know exactly what it was. And so when they came to California, they had never like really grew up swimming. Like they knew how to swim, but it wasn't like competitive swimming. So I started competitively swimming at like 4 or 5 and just fell in love with it. Loved the water, did junior guards, grew up obviously doing that in the summers. And then my older sister, who's 4 years above me, started playing water polo at like, I want to say 9 and I was 5. So I probably wasn't going to start until I was around that age. And I started playing at CDM which was awesome. Loved it. I think growing up in California, even Southern California, there's just so many Olympians around. Like, I think it's cool that, obviously Kaylee and I are in the shoes that we are in now, but even like from a young age, I got to see and meet so many Olympians. I was coached by Mike O'Brien, who's like an Olympian from back in like the 80s.
That's a good point. Sorry to pause for a second.
Yeah.
You have a weird amount of Olympians in this state, and it's like normal to be like, oh yeah, she's a gold medalist, which is insane to say, but it's like, yeah.
And like, 'cause it's aquatics too. And now you can lump in surfing in that.
Yeah.
Also, have Caroline that mix. But yeah,
You're just like walking around and they're there.
water polo, swim, surf. Yeah.
And I think I was just mesmerized from a young age by the Olympics, like swim team. And so at first I wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. And when I started playing water polo, I was like, oh, I think this is for me. Because I played soccer, I did a little bit of basketball, and water polo is just such a perfect mix.
Yeah.
And just competitively started by probably like 12 or 13. I was like, oh, I want to be an Olympic water polo player. And I wrote it in my 6th grade yearbook that I wanted to be an Olympic water polo player. And kind of, obviously, everything kind of fell in line from there growing up in the area.
And then didn't you are you homeschooled to be able to make your first Olympic team?
I did, yeah. So I started doing the Olympic development program. So for water polo, that's just like the pipeline from like cadet through senior team. And so I went from cadet to youth, and then kind of I performed well that summer, I guess, and I got invited to the senior team. And that's when I met Kaylee. I got to play with her in 2013. And then honestly, I wasn't sure if like 2016 was ever really in the cards for me. I was just excited to be a part of the practice squad.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I was like, yeah, for me, and I'll get down.
How old were you at that time?
I was like 13, 14.
When she started training.
Yeah. Oh, you're so tight.
Like, her dad would drop her off at practice.
Oh, were you guys like, who is this chick?
Yeah. It was interesting because we came in at the same time, but I'm 7 years older than you. Yeah. So I was in college, like had this experience, like, just life experience. And here's Maddie.
Yeah, it was intimidating.
It's just saying, what is this chick doing? Then before you know it, she's like taking my playing time. And
Every time.
Yeah, it was fun. But Kayla and I became close friends even with the age gap, like from the beginning. Like I'll never forget Canada Cup in 2013. It was like my first travel trip. And it was like girls in college or just out of college, and then like the high schoolers, which was just 3 of us, the Fishers and me.
Yeah.
And I just like was like, okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to like do whatever I can to make the team. And so that meant going online for my senior year of high school, which was Laurel Springs Academy. And
Laurel Springs.
Probably because after the surfers graduated.
I think I did Laurel Springs. Did you got Laurel Springs?
That's so funny.
I swear I did. It was like a homeschooling.
yeah, it was like an academy for like really good athletes.
That was
or
me.
like musicians.
Which is kind of interesting. Like a lot of people in Maddie's shoes and in the water polo world don't do. Like she was rare. There's a handful of people that have homeschooled because they've had the talent to make the Olympics in 17, 18-year-old. But I would argue like 4 people maybe. All Olympics, but for you, that's the norm in the surf world.
Otherwise, it's too much travel from such a young age. So it's like, otherwise, you honestly can't do it. Like you can't go to high school. If you're
Courtney did it.
There's just like
one rare person I think that finished.
Yeah, I think it just like gives you the opportunity to like put yourself in the best position to make a team or to compete at a high level. Like I think I was so thankful that it existed. Like my dad was gonna like help me in any capacity to do it, whether that was like not dropping out of high school, but like deferring. Like maybe I step away and I don't even go to school at all, and then I come back and then go back to high school. But I wanted to go to UC. I had just committed to UCLA. I was like, I want to go to college next year. I don't want to miss out. And I think one of the biggest blessings from Rio is I didn't do a gap year at all. So I like got to go to school with my class, and like I was freshman with everyone I grew up playing against and got to finally be in college with, which was really cool. And obviously I took gap years later for Tokyo, but I like had a good time. I remember we did like a graduation party in China school. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think.
Super fun.
Yeah. We had like a graduation party with my team, which was fun. So kind of a crazy journey. But again, it like, even Adam, our coach, was like, I'm not sure. Like, we'll see how the summer goes, and we'll see if like that's something you want to sacrifice to be a part of the squad, like the training year. And I was like, I'll do it.
Yeah, it was your decision. It was never forced.
And my dad was. I think my parents were a little hesitant about it. Like, do we want our daughter, who's still like learning things about life? Yeah, she's a baby. She's like, is she valuing the right things? Is she learning the right things about life? And I'm so thankful they let me do it and like open that door for me to do.
What? Yeah, you just learn so much too, going on the road and traveling. Yeah. Like Maddie has always been an old soul, but imagine a 13, 14, 15-year-old traveling with, I mean, one of her best friends on the team, Courtney, is 14 years, 12 years difference. Sorry, Courtney.
Shout out Courtney.
But just like the maturity you had at such a young age just made the transition, I think, so much easier too. And it was just easy for all of us, even though she annoyed me for a little while.
I mean, you kind of like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm with like adults. Like, and my sister was always older, but like you guys were even older. Like, imagine being a roommate with someone who's 12 years older than you. I was like,
she was her first.
She was my first roommate, and then she became my roommate for all the big trips.
Yeah,
it's cool. And took me under her wing, and like,
she's the godmother of one of her daughters.
Oh
gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so now her second daughter is my godmother.
Yeah. You have to talk a little bit. I mean, we really want to dive into Pat's story and your story with him, but you got to talk about the Olympics. You know, share Rio and Tokyo's experience, what you learned being a part of the USA water polo program. Obviously, it's been such a big part of both of our lives. Winning gold, you know, being on top of the podium, the best in the world. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, competing at the level we compete at within our sport, it's like the pinnacle. And so that's the ultimate goal. And I think being 18 in Rio, I think not in itself, I think making that team was just like eye-opening to like what sport's all about and getting the opportunity to compete at a high level. And that team we played on in Rio was like absolutely amazing. Insane. Yeah. I mean, we won games by 5 or 6 and every team you could just kind of see the fear. And I think being young and looking around at each person, having a different story and testimony within our team was really special. And we had a lot of things happen to us, even in Rio. And then we had another thing happen to us in Tokyo. And I think adversity was always kind of a part of my Olympic process. And then, you know, we go to Tokyo and it's like COVID, we have an extra year of training. And, you know, I had just come back from shoulder surgery and I just had a lot of injury and personal you know, individual anxieties that I felt going through that process. And I think to be on the top of the podium for both of my first Olympic experiences and I say first Olympic experience because I feel like both of them are so different. Yeah. Like your first Olympics is unique in itself and then you go and you have a whole completely different process that I feel like it's a whole nother Olympics that's like the first time. Right. Even though it's not. Right. And I think in Tokyo, for me, I got MVP of that tournament and like was just, I think it's hard to say you're proud of yourself like out loud when you're on a team sport, but like I am really proud of myself from that experience because I think you get an extra year and you go through what you go through and you look back and like, damn, that was like pretty fucking cool that I did it. Excuse my language. But
no, say it.
And
it's really fun.
I think I think when we get into like Pat's story and even just Paris, I think my first 2 Olympic experiences really prepared me and I think our team and even those who I've gotten to play with for 12 years for that experience. And so yeah, I mean, it's humbling. It's obviously really exciting. And it's something that I enjoy talking about with people who don't know water polo in our sport.
Totally.
So,
yeah. For those that don't know, Rio, there was 4 returners, 9 newbies.
Whoa. Yeah. So we all were figuring it out.
We were all figuring out the 4 returners were such great leaders. And, it was just a really fun time because it was all of our firsts. So there was something special about that. The excitement of like little things, like going to the village for the first time, going through processing where you get all your USA swag, like going to the dining room, like eating, which is like crazy. But just all of that, you know, the qualification process was very hard. It was a one-time qualification in March of 2016. And it was either make or break. And we all qualified and had like the most epic night out. Yeah, very fun time.
I'm sure there's some stories that I can tell.
And even our families were there. Like, I think, not that I took it for granted in Rio, but in Tokyo, we had no one. So it was cool. Like, I had a huge crew and you had a huge crew. And I like see photos. Actually, a photo popped up the other day on my phone. And it was like front row. It was like my sister, your sister, her husband, like all our friends in one area. And it was just like, gosh, you forget about those things, and it's been like almost 10 years.
I know.
Since
so
that game.
That's crazy.
Literally. Yeah. And then Tokyo, no one's there.
Well, Tokyo, and Tokyo was so interesting because we had the extra year of COVID. Like, it was just a weird time going around.
Yeah.
Very, the team was pretty divided, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. Like, and it just like, we were holding on. This is what I think. We were holding on by threads to get the job done by the time Tokyo rolled around. And like, there's some people that just don't speak with anyone on the team, and that's how it is. And it was just, I mean, it was still for our own personal journeys and what we went through in that Tokyo quad, it was really special. And it's just like you gravitate towards your people. So that was, it's obviously very special, but very different circumstances.
Yeah. And I think like a moment popped in my head because honestly, Keely had that Guangzhou injury in 2019. And she ironically, that happened and she had surgery on the same day I had shoulder surgery a year prior.
Oh, wow.
So it became a cool thing for us because I think when someone gets hurt, especially when someone you're so close with on the team, you want to be a part of that process and you go through every step with them. And like, obviously she was with me for my shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And then she got hurt, which completely different, obviously, more scary, traumatic. But I got to kind of like be a part of it with her. And be like, hey, it's been however many years now, 5.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to us. I think it's almost trauma bonding in a way.
Yeah, totally.
1000%. But that's good.
Yes.
Misery loves company sometimes.
Exactly.
So people don't really know, like, that's the thing. The sport, we've been so fortunate to not have a lot of injuries. Like, they're starting to pop up a little bit more with surgeries. But I think I try to talk to you about the stat during our injury pod, but I think there's like maybe 6 people of all of the senior team, 6 to 8 people that have ever gotten a surgery. So it's hard to relate if you haven't done it. And because Maddie did it first, it was actually really easy to relate with her about overcoming these tiny little things like, oh, I can wiggle my big toe, or oh, I can wiggle my fingers now, and just being able to relate that way too. And so
and like return to sport. Like I think a lot of people had not returned. They were like, oh, we got surgery after then we retired. I'm like, oh, look, I want to come back and play.
Fully.
And so we kind of had that like something to relate to is like, oh, we want to play. We want to be good when we come back. So like, what does that look like? And so that was kind of a fun process.
For sure.
So I think we always get hurt. So. I'm considered a piece of glass.
Oh my God. Yeah.
No,
or like 5th surgery
to get shot
in like a week.
it's because you're so gnarly. You're so good. You're absolutely love it. So, we got to go down with the ship sometimes.
Exactly.
But let's transition a little bit. We'll still be talking about water polo. You met Patrick, your husband, in 2022, I believe, right? Yeah. And talk us through how you guys met and then getting engaged and then got married in 2023 after his diagnosis. But how did you meet Pat?
So we have mutual friends. So Pat went to UCLA as well. He played water polo at UCLA with my older sister at the same time. So they were freshmen going in. They were actually like on the same dorm room floor. Yeah. So I'd always heard his name before, but I had never met him. And I always like kind of laughed. Like my sister laughs about it when we first started. And she's like, I can't believe you're dating Pat. Like that's just like so bizarre to me. Like it's like my whole college experience. I like knew him and know of all the stories of him. And so I obviously had heard his name, and we both were in a wedding. He was best friends with the groom and I was best friends with the bride. Mm-hmm. And I kind of got introduced to him, didn't think much of it. I was like, oh, he's cute. Mm-hmm. And he had heard that, and obviously all the water polo world is just really small, and he communicated it. And so he actually called me probably 2 or 3 weeks later and left me a voicemail asking me on a date. And I was going into my senior year of college, and I was like, who wants to be a college girl? And I was like, I'm obviously older. I was gone for 2 years. I came back. I'm an old soul. I was like, oh, maybe he'll want to date me. And first date, it was just super easy. And I never really had a boyfriend. In high school, I had a boyfriend, but it was never dating to get married and all. Now, at the time, I was like, I want to find my partner. And he was in the same boat. He was same mindset as me. And we just connected really, really quickly. Mm. And so we dated for a year and a half, got engaged in June of 2023. Complete surprise for me because I'm an investigator detective. So
he got you.
He got me.
Nice.
Turned off her location, which I actually didn't think was because of that.
Yeah. Maddie's a location creeper.
Oh, no. Where are you at? What are you doing over here?
Yeah. And then Pat calls Tom. We were at practice at CDM. I remember vividly. And Tom and I were going to go on a camping trip. Yeah. And Pat calls Tom. Was like, hey, I'm going to propose to Maddie tonight. Can you be there? And we're like, yeah, obviously we're going to be there. So we canceled the camping trip. Yeah. Trying to everyone at practice, we're going camping. Yeah. So I had to turn off my location.
Because she would have been like, oh my God, she's right.
Well, I had this weird feeling. And then when it happened, I was like, oh, because this was my dad's 60th birthday that.
Yeah, that's
and so I was like, who's coming? And Pat doesn't trust a lot of people to keep secrets, especially my family and my sisters. We all talk about everything. Right. We're always FaceTime, everything. He's like, your family doesn't keep secrets. Why would I tell them? But of course he told my sisters. So then I was just like, wait, who knows of my friends? And I didn't really tell anyone. And I was like, well, does Kaylee know? And then check her location, it's off. And I'm like, well, maybe she's just going camping. She's up in the hills and none of my friends know. Obviously super exciting and get to go into the next chapter of our lives together. And I think, I mean, as you guys know, you both have partners. You imagine everything going as you plan, and like you're laying out your life for the next however many years, and you're getting excited. And I think going into like Paris Olympic year too, it's like, what an exciting time to just like get engaged. Now I'm going to be training for my third Olympics with my husband or my fiance at the time, and like
Moved in together.
moved in together. We had all these exciting things coming that I just never ever thought something like cancer would come into our lives. And my dad's had health issues. He's had some heart stuff, and he actually had throat cancer during the Tokyo Olympic year. So we've known adversity, we've known health.
Sure.
And I've always wanted to work in medicine. And so I've been around that space, but I think when it's your partner that all of a sudden gets diagnosed, it's just kind of like a whirlwind shock. And so he was diagnosed in September of 2023 with a really rare and aggressive like head, neck, and lung cancer. No one had ever heard of it. He had a cough. I should probably preface with, he was training for the English Channel.
Yeah,
I got to go back.
Yeah, how much in the best way possible was Pat lunatic?
Yeah,
And
he
what
was
he was training for?
Yeah. So he was kind of psycho in the best way.
He was swim the English.
He did swim the English Channel.
Wow.
So Pat played at UCLA, won 2 national championships.
Yeah.
Badass. Then he graduates college and he's like, I'm going to go live in London.
Okay.
Gets a job, no idea what he's doing. He's living in London. He loves it. He's like doing medical sales devices, like through a family friend.
Figuring it out.
Yeah. Then he decides, I don't want to do that anymore. So then he goes, before I move back to the US, I'm going to work on an almond farm. So then he works on an almond farm for 2 weeks and 3 weeks in the hills, like no communication, Wi-Fi once a week. Picking almonds off the ground.
Oh my!
He wanted to know what it was like to live in poverty.
Wow.
So just like life experience, just like through the roof. He comes back, he moves to the US, and he's like, love swimming, but like I think when you play water polo as long as we have, it's like almost like, I want to try something different. And he got into ocean swimming during COVID. And so he decided, I want to swim the Catalina Channel. So he trained in 2021. He swam across from Catalina to Long Beach, which took him 13 hours.
Almost 30 miles.
Yeah. So all of them are 20, oh gosh, I don't know the exact number, but 20 something miles. It took him like 13 hours. He said it was like the worst swim of his life. He hated it.
He was getting like an exhaust, like the boat exhaust.
Oh,
like,
no. You get like a week window, and he got chosen on the night where there was no moon. So it was pitch black out all night long. So the moon was gone. So he swam all night long in pitch black.
This is terrifying.
The bioluminescence in the ocean, which I'm sure you've seen.
Oh, there's lots of shots.
Yeah. The dolphins were bioluminescent. So he's like, it felt like Patronuses from here. So he was like hallucinating kind of.
Wow.
Boat fumes got him high. And then it took him forever. So he was like, it was like his 28th birthday. He was like, got to the shore and was stoked for him. And he was just like, it was the worst thing ever. I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Like it felt accomplishing, but not really.
Yeah.
Like, why did I do that? And then he took a break. That's when we met. And then when I started training I moved to Philly and I started training after hip surgery, he was like, I think I'm going to do the English Channel. And I was like, yes, why? Well, so he was training for the English Channel the whole year before the Olympic year.
Yeah.
And he got like a cough, and we didn't really think much of it. I mean, like boys hate going to the doctor in general. And so it's like when they're called, I'm not sick, I'm fine.
Yeah. That was only like a couple months before. We were in Japan.
Yeah, in Japan he had a cough, and like I got a cough. So I was like, oh, it must just be like a virus or something. And came home, he swam the English Channel in a record time of 10 hours and 28 minutes.
On his 30th birthday.
On his 30th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. So like
incredible.
Just like super, like he told me, hey, it's gonna take me 18 hours. So don't stress if I'm like still out on the ocean. I'm like, 18 miles?
I'm gonna stress.
Yeah, I'm stressed. And I was in Park City for my sister's bachelorette party. So I didn't get to be there, and I already felt bad about like not being a part of it. And I woke up and I like was tracking him. I'd wake up and check, and then I would go back to bed. And then I woke up and he was like, oh, well, he's 30 minutes from the land. I'm like, it's only been 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like, no way. Like he told me 18.
Yeah.
And he like crushed his time by like 8 hours that he had for himself.
Wow.
And perfect day conditions were like, it was like blue skies.
Yeah.
The water was like warm, which is like 62.
Yeah.
And he like came home like on top of the world. He was like so excited. We obviously like engagement, crossed the channel. We'd gotten 5th at World Championship, so it wasn't great. But water polo was in all, scheme of things was great. And going to Olympic year and then
planning our
wedding. We had just picked a date to get married in October of the following year. And I was like, you got to get this cough checked out. Like it's been like nagging.
Too
Like,
long. No.
yeah, like our team coach will, or team USA coach will, get you in, like just go get a stand.
Yeah. And we would always
Like,
shout to
honest.
Maddie that she's a hypochondriac.
I am.
I mean, she's gone through, their family's gone through a lot, so it makes sense. But you're like, oh, Maddie.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Which I was like, obviously you hope that. Like, yeah, might as well get checked.
Yeah.
And you could kind of see like a mass on an x-ray. And so, which is like, obviously you could be like pneumonia, you never know. And so like, and I'm not an expert in the field. So I was like, well, like, let's see what they say. And then our team doctor had called us and was like, you should get a biopsy, like just get it checked. You're young. Like it shouldn't be anything.
Right.
And then everything was just like, I remember going to practice one day, I told Kaylee, like, I was like crying on the wall. Like, I have a bad feeling about this. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, he has masses in his lungs, but that's all I know. Like, I don't really know what it is. I don't know if you remember that day. That was it's crazy. And Adam wasn't around. It was like a weird practice day. It was like
our first week or two back.
Yeah, we were back from summer break.
Yeah.
And we got a call. We like had told his parents had flown in. We were like getting biopsies. Like, we don't think it's cancer, but you never know.
For sure.
So they came to town. And then that night after that practice, I had told Kaylee, we found out it was nut carcinoma, which I'm like, what is that? Like, oh, whatever it is, we've got this.
Yeah.
And you look it up, which I didn't really look it up. Pat didn't want to know anything.
Yeah, so they left the doctor's office, right? Correct?
Yeah, like Pat didn't want to know numbers from the beginning. Like, even when it was just a mass, like, even if it's cancer, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Any prognosis, I don't want to know numbers. I just want you to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And so when he got told it was nut carcinoma, Elmo, our doctor, had said, I've never heard of this, but we will try to figure out who's the best people to go to. Like, we thought maybe it was like lymphoma, which is more common in young adults for cancer, like in this area of your body. And so from the beginning, Pat had looked at me and told me, like, I don't want to know anything. Like, don't tell me. Everyone else can look. I don't really care what everyone thinks. I just want them to tell me the plan. And so I think when you hear that, it's rare, it's not most likely good, but Pat grew up Catholic, I grew up Christian, and we just had like a really good base of faith in what God can do for our lives and having the hope of making it as long as we want to make it. And so it kind of all happened fast. We flew out to Boston, we went to the best of the best. They told us this was the plan. I think from like responses of other people, you kind of know it's not good. But I think being someone's partner and what they want for their plan, you just go right alongside them.
Yeah.
And you
put the blinders on.
Yeah, put the blinders on. You have hope for what he wants. And for him, his main thing was to make it to Paris. And so like, that's all he said.
Okay. So you guys knew, and he knew, like, this is, to beat this, it's going to be a miracle at this point.
And I think he never said it.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, oh, like when I'm cancer free. Like, he always said that. And I was like, yeah, like, I think I was convincing myself all the time. Yeah, like when you're cancer free, like, but we prayed all the time that like, we don't know what this looks like. Like, what does this mean? And like, when you're on a clinical trial, I think hearing the word clinical trial, there's no options. So if your first option's a clinical trial, that's not good. And I think knowing what I know now, I mean, it's a miracle he made it 4 months.
Wow.
And so when I'm like, that's pretty cool that he made it 14 months or 13 months.
Yeah.
And I think people looking at you the way they looked at us now, I think I'm happy I had the blinders on because it made me enjoy every moment I had with him from the beginning.
Yeah, wow. And you guys were engaged, so you ended up getting married pretty quickly after you found out he was diagnosed, right?
Yeah, it was super exciting, actually. Like, I think, yes, the diagnosis was super sad and depressing and like so much happening and I think so many tears.
Yeah.
But his biggest goal in life was to get married.
Yeah.
And so we had all the family in town. It was like everyone flew in. So his brother lives in Bend and then his sister lives in NorCal and his parents are in NorCal. So everyone flew to town. We kind of had like just moments together where it's like, hey, we have cancer in our lives. Now what do we do? We're all together. We're all in this together. Both of our families just hung out for like 3 days straight and then everyone left.
Yeah.
And I was like, should we get married?
Yeah.
Like, I know everyone was just here, but now I'm feeling like everyone should come in.
Yeah.
And so we had 4 days from like Monday to Saturday to plan a wedding. And everything was like absolutely beautiful. It was wonderful. We got married at my church I grew up going to. Our pastor, who was planning to marry us anyways, got to marry us. And we had I had a wedding dress I borrowed from one of our friends in the neighborhood. It fit me. I'm not sure how. Really? Yes. It zipped up and I was like, well, this is kind of scary now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Signs. God was looking over for sure.
Oh yeah. And it rained on our wedding day. It the dress fit. We got a venue. It was just
our parents' wedding.
Oh yeah. We have the same wedding anniversary as my mom's parents.
Wow.
So on our wedding morning, my mom my dad got a notification on his phone Pat and Marilyn's wedding anniversary, and he came upstairs oh, by the way, you're getting married and it's their 60th wedding anniversary, and they're both not here anymore. So my mom gave me my grandma's wedding band, and it says it on the inside the same it says 9/30/67.
Yeah. And they had no idea. Obviously, this was just the Saturday.
Yeah.
4 days.
Right. Just whatever.
61. You can pull together at that point, whatever you could do.
Well, I can't read. 47.
At some point, long time. Many years ago.
So it's really cool.
Photographer was free.
Wow. Yeah, the photographer we want that had been at every UCLA water polo wedding known to man. She was available.
Yeah.
So she came.
Wow.
Just really beautiful things. And then we had a beach day. So we had a Saturday family wedding. No one else but us. And then Sunday was a beach celebration, and we had people fly in. It was really cool. I didn't think everyone would come, and everyone came. I was telling the families that gave me their home, let us borrow the space. I was oh, probably only 100 people. And I was I'm so sorry.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So just really special time.
Wow.
And then you get through that. His focus and your focus is now he wants to make it to Paris to watch you in Paris, which he obviously did end up doing. But what's that journey like? You're obviously training for the Olympics, one of the best on the team in the world. Also, I'm assuming a full-time caretaker at this point. This is your husband. Time is finite. That's got to be an incredibly tricky position to be in for you to focus and do that. So, yeah, how is that for you? Just that you're kind of going into getting to Paris, which you guys did, which is so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird looking back on now. I feel at the time it's survival mode.
Yeah.
And I actually was telling Kaylee this. We had a documentary come out about our team, and it's I watched it and I was I looked really different than I feel now. And I think that's just life in general. You go through things and you become a different person through your experience. And I think at first I didn't know if I wanted to come back and play, to be honest. I had stepped away for a couple weeks and was trying to figure out what this meant, because water polo is great and I love the experiences that I've gotten, and obviously I've had a lot of success, but nothing compares to walking alongside your partner through something that they should never go through.
Yeah.
And I was I don't need to do water polo. I'd rather stay by your side and we can have time together. And he was nah. You're playing water polo. I want to watch you play. I want to watch the team play. If you had met Pat, he loved sports and he loved water polo specifically, but he would go to tennis tournaments and golf tournaments all over the world. He just loved the best of the best. And so he had never
dart
been
tournaments.
Yeah, he would go to dart tournaments and London.
Dart.
Yes, the best, the best dart. Yeah. He's
Guy's awesome.
Oh yeah. He's need to go to watch the darts in London.
Wow.
What does that even mean? He send me videos of the best dart player. So he had never been to the Olympics, and I think he was not only have I never been, but my wife's in the Olympics, and we're going to the Olympics. You have to play. I'm we'll make it work. I know you. And he was hard, because I think when you're someone's partner, they want you at appointments and they want you by their side. Yeah. And obviously he had his family and we had so much support, but it is so different when you want your partner. And so we had to navigate what that looked like, and then also going to training every day and being a part of that experience. Yeah. And I think, for me and the faith that I have, I think at times God protects you from the fears that you have when it's necessary, but he also sometimes doesn't protect you from your fears. And I think I'd always had a fear in my life that I was going to lose someone. I think going through my dad's stuff and having friends get hurt or people losing and having, kids pass away, just things like that I had seen in our neighborhood and growing up in our area. We've had a lot of loss in the area. And I think I'd always feared it, but God has always supplied a lot of grace in those times as well. And so I knew, and looking back on our journey, we had so many blessings throughout the whole year. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to navigate it in a way that I think I'm really proud of, but it was hard. We would be I was always getting pulled both ways. I'm do I go to radiation or do I go to practice? And then it's just you're letting someone down on both sides, which is terrible, because they want to let my team down because we're preparing for the biggest tournament in the world and trying to win another gold medal for Team USA. And then I'm also like, my husband's over here fighting for his life and he's at chemo by himself or his family's there. And he's texting me, asking me about practice. And I'm like, well, first of all, how are you? Not like, how's practice? And so I think it was nice to have water polo as a distraction for him, but it was also hard for me at times to want to be there and like be in two places at once. So that was tough, but I think I had people on the team like Kaylee that was like the bridge of communication, which was nice at times. Like, hey, Maddie's not here, but she wants to share this with you guys. And then also she was sharing, I'm like, what's the team up to? Like, what's everyone thinking?
This girl's annoying.
What's the I'm like, that's funny. I actually got yelled at today. I was saying, yeah. Also kind of crazy. And I think like God does really interesting things in people's lives. But so I came back and I was there for 2 weeks. I was like, I'm doing this. We're coming back. I'm training. We're going to go to Pan Am's. We're going to qualify for the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
And I tore my knee.
On a freak accident. She hit a goalie. Like, she's not even supposed to be near the goalie.
I don't know. I never defend. I'm a terrible defender. So I'm like in the middle. And Ashley Johnson, our goalie, obviously she felt terrible. But like total accident. My knee gets kicked by, like her foot like weirdly popped my knee. And it was like practice number 5, I'm back. And I'm like, I got this. I'm doing this for Pat. I'm doing this for me and like our story and our journey, our team. Like there were so many things I was like, so excited about. And I like tear to my MCL. And I'm just like.
And Pan Am's was our qualifier. Not that we were and I just like without Maddie, but she's a pretty critical player.
Come on, like, whoa, what's another thing to hit me? Like kick a dog while it's down, whatever the saying is. And it's like, I just had to like take a deep breath and be like, okay, what does this mean for the next year? Like, am I even gonna be able to play? Like, is this me, like God telling me to like just be with my husband? Like, you go through all the scenarios in your head of like, what does that look like? And I think the blessing in it was I got to spend Christmas, like it was all during December, like November, December. So I got to be home for Thanksgiving. I got to be home for Christmas. And like, they were on a 3-week trip in December. So they went home.
But you came a little bit to Florida.
I did. I came and like said hi on some of the trips, but I like was hurt. And then I also got to spend time with Pi. And so it was really special. And I think good came out of it, but I was just like, come on, another thing. And it came back.
As like an athlete, like she probably wouldn't have taken that time. And Pat probably wouldn't have let you either because he loves water polo so much and loves watching Maddie play.
Yeah.
So that it almost had to happen. I feel like I was chirping in your ear even before the injury, being like, don't go to Pan Am's. Like, be with Pat. Right?
Yeah. And it was like his favorite holiday is Christmas. So I was like, oh gosh, like, I'm missing like mostly all of December. Like, that's such a bummer. And then I was like, no, but he wants me on this trip. It was just like back and forth. And then when I tore my knee, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a reason I could just stay home.
Yeah, and it all worked out too. I mean, Pat, that's when he had pneumonia for the first time.
Yeah, he was in the hospital for the first time. And like, I'd never really like experienced, like we had cancer where it was like outpatient. So you go in, you come out. And that was the first time he was like stuck in one spot.
Can you imagine?
If I wasn't home.
Yeah, Maddie was in Holland, in like Italy.
You can't even focus on that. No, you can't focus on water polo.
Exactly. And I think all the times he was admitted to the hospital, I was home. Yeah. Just like another crazy part of the story. It's just all the moments where I, like when we went to Doha in February, he like had a great time when I was gone. Like he was never really sick. He had a different friend taking him to like his appointments every day. His family was in town for different weeks that I was gone.
And that was your first big trip.
And that was my first big trip. Yeah. And we won, which was great. Yeah. So I think, again, you have moments where like you're shielded from the fear of what's about to happen, but then you have moments of joy amidst like a really fearful time. So it's just, kind of navigating that together, which was a blessing.
I wanted to ask you a little bit, and then sorry, Kayla, I'll let it go, but about your faith through this whole journey, because you mentioned a few times, and you said Patrick had a lot of faith, and obviously you have very strong faith. But obviously that gives people a lot of comfort. Certainly my faith gives me a lot of comfort. But what's that like for you in that journey? And then obviously after he passed, and now like has that, I would assume it's a big staple in your life, but do you feel like even talking to him before he passed about that and just knowing or feeling like, you have a sense of knowing and seeing him again, like, of course, like, does that, you'd grab onto that so tightly, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think if we didn't have it, I would have crumbled for sure. I think, and those who aren't of faith, I think I was always so willing to share my journey because of how important it is to me, and not that everyone needs to have it or have some, but it is nice to have something to fall back on when there's, trauma, adversity, whatever it may be. And I like look back on the things like even before I met Pat that God was preparing me for, to like be able to like hold on to him while he was fighting, and like speak wisdom over him, and like kind of share in an experience that is so traumatizing and have hope. Like, I think people were always just like, I don't get how you have hope. Like when something like this, it's like, oh, you only have 4 months, or you have no time. Like he's most likely going to pass. Like we never really heard those words, which was kind of nice, but I like didn't really believe it. Like I didn't think he was really going to pass away until like the day it happened. And I think that was just a testament to Pat's journey of like him speaking faith over me, and then also me giving it right back to him, because, you never know how much time we have here. And I've always believed that like perseverance builds hope, hope builds character.
Yeah.
And the way he fought, like built it every day. And I know I'll see him again. I think it's more just like, it's such a bummer that it had to happen so soon. And at the same time, it's like, okay, what do I do now? Like, now that you're not here.
Yeah.
And he always told me like, well, you're going to keep going. And like, you're going to be fine. And I think you're like in the moment, you're like, no, I'm not. Like, why would you ever say that?
I'm definitely not going to be.
Yeah. But he's like, you'll figure it out. You'll put one foot in front of the other. And I think when you hear his voice, like the one blessing of cancer is you get to walk with them. Like you get to talk about all the things that could be, or, I don't think he loved talking about it, but hey, if I do pass away, like this is what I put, like I would love to see from heaven. Like, I want you to be happy. I want you to, be able to enjoy the things you've always wanted to enjoy. And just because I'm not here doesn't mean you can't do that. And I think that I was lucky that I got to have those conversations. And I know grief is not easy for anyone, and everyone's journey is so different, but I do feel very blessed that I had those conversations, because not everyone gets to have those, whether it's, sudden death, whatever it may be. And I think going back to the faith piece and growing up, seeing miracles in my dad and the health he had, I just believed that it could happen to Pat at any moment. Like I was just like, whether he passes away or not, like that's a miracle in itself. And every day I got to see him like overcome something that someone told him he couldn't do. So I think that was always like, okay, that's faith, or like that's a prayer answered, even though it's not, cancer's gone. It's like he got to go to Paris. Like, what? Like he shouldn't have even been there at the end of the day. And not only was he in Paris, but he like, his blood was fine the whole time. Like he was getting tested for all his numbers while he was there. He got to stay on the clinical trial, which it's like unheard of to do a clinical trial abroad. He like traveled on the train by himself, which is probably a bad idea, but that's a miracle. And like he was at the games, and like he didn't have anything that was scary while we were gone. And I look back and I'm like, that was because of the faith we had, what God can do for him while he's here. And so I don't know, it carries me through. And I just always encourage people to be open to the idea of what God can do in your life, because it is pretty amazing when you dive into it. It's hard, but I think no one's life is easy. So
Of course.
Yeah.
We all have our things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You have such strong faith.
Thanks.
Are cool. So you made it to Paris. I mean, I was right by your side, but how was that for you? Did you be able to kind of take a moment and realize how special those times would have been? Or was it, water polo game mode, worrying about Pat and his health, to kind of share, we were in Paris for like 3 weeks, so it was a long time. And I know the emotions went like this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd have to shake her. Sometimes I would give you a high five.
Yeah.
Taylor's probably the best teammate.
She's she is.
So-
And I think we've been through so much together that she knew. Like, she's like, no, she's not having a good day. Oh gosh, like we'll have to do it again. And sometimes she's like, oh my gosh, she's so annoying. But no, Paris was like, it was such a weird experience, to be honest. I think coming off of 2 wins prior from Rio and Tokyo, you know that feeling of playing really well and like what it takes to be at the top of the podium. And so like the water polo experience, I think, was a little different for me because I was a little distracted. Like I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. I think having Pat there was amazing and it was such a blessing, but it was like I was in fear a lot of the time because I just didn't know what was going to happen to him. And you're like, have people taking care of him who like obviously they were around during his family, my family, like people were there, but then you have people who haven't seen him or like don't know what he needs, and it's just stressful.
We like control.
I like control. I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah.
I hate that. But I think I had to kind of let go of it a little bit. None of us can really control what happens. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control where we put our faith. And I just kind of Pat was having a good time. I was just like kind of letting it be. And I checked in on him obviously all the time, but it was distracting sometimes when we were playing in big moments, big games. And at the same time, I like tried to invest everything into that tournament and play as best as I could and leave nothing on the table for what I could do for the team, and try to be the best leader that I could be and be open about like what I was experiencing, but at the same time not be a distraction. Like that's so hard when they're following your journey and they know everything about Pat. And a lot of people were telling me like, we want to win for him too. Like, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that experience, but he wasn't there to like, obviously he wanted us to win, but he
hated the limelight.
Yeah. It's like, please don't make this about.
It's like the story of the.
Yeah, it really was. He didn't want anything about him. And it's hard. It's like, you're a lot of people's motivation. Like, that's like, this is bigger than water polo, like at the end of the day. And I think that was also a battle. It's like, you want to win and like win a gold medal and be at the top of the podium because that's what I've trained for. And then you also are like, but this is someone's life. And like,
I think that was like a challenge for a lot of our teammates too, because we've been very fortunate in our sport to come from like great backgrounds, and a lot of individuals haven't gone through a lot of adversity, so they didn't understand the magnitude maybe. This is just like my perspective. I haven't really talked to many of them about it, but I think like, their sole goal in life at that moment was to win a gold medal.
Right.
But sometimes they didn't have the perspective, I think.
And it's just like, it's humbling for me, but at the same time, like I've already won too. So I can see how from their side of things, and again, I haven't really talked to them that much either about it, but like, that's hard. Like, okay, Maddie's going through this and we want to support her, yet, if she's not around and whatever may happen, like we lose, like she already has two, these are just me talking things in my head. Like, gosh, what are they going to think if we lose? Is it because I wasn't here all the time? Like, is it my fault, or is it's never going to be Pat's fault ever. Like, I would never place that blame on him, but you think of those things, like, the scary thoughts that come through your head as an athlete in general of performance and not playing your best. And I definitely had moments where I was like, gosh, maybe if I was at that extra training, or I trained a little harder, maybe we would have won. Like, you don't know.
And that always comes like with losing. Like, I think there's people say, give it your all so you have no regret. I was like, those people have never lost in the Olympics. The way we've lost. We're like lost in a big moment, because no matter what, no matter how hard you train, I think there's always going to be some regret, whether it's like, should have passed to the 2-post quicker, or I should have maybe invested more throughout the last year, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And I think of like, okay, who am I now? Like, how does this shape who I'm going to be? What do I value through this experience? And I think that's hard because it's the one thing you wanted, you didn't get. And then honestly, I fast forward a couple months, like, and Pat passes away, and it's like, okay, well, now I didn't get another thing that I wanted. So who am I going to be now through this experience? It's like, you wanted the hero story of winning a gold medal with your husband, he's fighting cancer, la, 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 la. You don't get it. Okay, well, now I want this miracle of a cancer-free outcome, and then I don't get it. So like, now I'm thinking, like, what's next? Like, who else is going to pass away? What else is going to happen in my life? And I think I quickly had to find a way to make it more hopeful. And I think being a widow at 27 is a hard label to have, but I've learned to embrace it. And there's so many stories in the Bible of widows who are so loved and so seen by the community of people around them. And I've never felt so much love in the months after Pat passed. And I knew I was going to be okay in those moments of like, okay, like, how do I wear this on my sleeve and not make it my complete identity? Because I'm so much more than just a widow. And I'm so much more than an Olympian. I'm so much more than just a good friend. Like, there's so much more to come. And it's a balance of the sadness and grief that I'm experiencing, but also like the joy and hope that my life can be. And it's been a hard year, but and especially now being a year out, the second year is actually a lot harder in my personal opinion, just people go back to their lives and you're trying to figure out what that looks like. So yeah, I mean, the Paris Olympics were great and it was fun to have Pat there, but it's also still, it looms over my head a little bit as a disappointment and trauma for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So Pat went into the hospital later September, passed on October 10th. And you mentioned earlier in the pod that you believed he was going to pull through. You had hope the whole time, as you should have. And October 10th, he passed away. What were those moments like? Were you in shock basically for a few months? I know we dove right into his service and got the gang together for a swim to honor him. Was that what was keeping you going forward, or again, just relying on your faith?
Mix of both. I think so. When the Olympics ended, I feel like everything kind of went pretty downhill pretty quickly, and it was like kind of things slipping out of my hands really fast. But again, I think we had prepared for it for a long time. I think it's almost like a blind preparation. It's like anticipatory grief that people talk about with cancer is the moment you get a diagnosis, you're going to start grieving things along the way. So I had lost things with him pretty quickly as he was sick. But his last event was Kayla's wedding, which he was like super stoked. And like, I think to be able to go to another thing for him was really hard. Like, I think weddings in general were hard for him because it's like people who are uniting their life and he's sick. So I think that was hard. But at the same time, like he was so stoked to be there and support another friend getting married. And again, he loved watching his friends get married. I mean, every wedding photo of him was just like, like he loved love. And it was, I think I got to witness obviously at firsthand as a partner. And then, I just got admitted to the hospital for like a routine procedure. Didn't think much of it. I was like, oh, we're going to be home. It's going to be great. And we had our anniversary on September 30th in the hospital, and UCLA water polo was playing like a big game. So we had like his friends came to the hospital to say hi. I don't think a lot of them knew that was going to be like the last time we saw him. So like, that's always kind of weird to think about.
Yeah.
And he was like just not getting better. And for those in the science world or medical world, he was just like oxygenating really bad. And they don't let you go home if you can't get above a certain number. And he just couldn't get above a number. And what they do is they'll admit you to the ICU and put you on like high flow oxygen. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like as long as he's awake and like can talk. And it kind of happened overnight, like ICU. I panicked, like, oh my gosh, like ICU, no thanks. Like, I don't like that. And luckily his parents were in town, and actually his family was coming that weekend, like just out of the blue to visit everyone. All of them are coming, which again is another blessing. I think God had like not planned out, but like had orchestrated it in a beautiful way. And they had talked about putting him on a ventilator. And I was like, we had talked about it. I was like, I don't want to be on a ventilator ever. And so I was just like, wait, what does that mean? If you go, like, does that mean this is the end? And his mom had showed up and had told me, like, at our first appointment with our diagnosis out in Boston was if no one with nut carcinoma has ever come off of a ventilator. And so I think that was kind of like our answer of comfort and making him not in pain anymore. And I think I was expecting, oh, maybe we'll come home, like we'll do hospice. And like, you just don't know what that looks like. I've never, ever navigated that before.
Yeah.
And so I called all his friends. I called people he wanted. I was like, okay, like if we want to make you comfortable, like who would you want to like come say hi to you? Like you're going to be here for some time. Like I didn't know.
Yeah.
And everyone came within like 2 hours. Like all his best friends, his coaches, family, obviously, everyone he wanted there, and said bye within probably 4 hours. And then it was just our family. And I just was like kind of in shock, like navigating things. And I like kind of got like this sick feeling that something was going to happen. And I think I was in survival mode. I did really cry. I didn't really feel like any emotion. It was kind of like stone wall. Like, what? Because I thought I was going to get my miracle the whole time. Like, no way. I was like, there's just no way. And that night he passed, which was just like kind of a whole, like, really quick. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be that fast. And I think you don't think you're going to do that until like you're 80.
Right.
But I think having it at my age was very eye-opening, and I get to carry that with me. And we talked about all the things that I got to look for in the, sunsets and sunrises. And I think that gave me a lot of peace for like now that I'm like sitting there like, okay, like what do I do? Like, wish I could call him. And you can't.
Right. Yeah. It is truly incredible too when you look at the milestones. Like he obviously made it to Paris, which was a huge goal, but your first wedding anniversary and just was by your side that entire year. And you know, what most people had a 4-month diagnosis and he survives with 14 months. It's just a testament to his stubbornness and his resilience and so many things. Wow.
Yeah. And like he was like, and again, I think when you walk through cancer and people, whether it's brain cancer or people are sick, you don't ever know how they're going to be like mentally and like on, medicines and whatever it is. And he was completely lucid. Like he had full conversations with people. Like, and you hear stories, like I've met a lot of widows who didn't get to have that experience of like having them know where they are. And like, I think Pat planned it if he were to say that he planned this. Like it came out all perfectly in the grand scheme of things when you zoom out, but I'd also be wanting to say that like it was also sad and horrifying.
Yeah, of course.
But we had some laughs that day, which were great. And those are the moments you kind of remember the most.
Yeah.
Thanks for being so vulnerable. It's amazing everyone got to be there, and everyone who wanted to see him and needed to see him got to see him. And now you have a foundation for him. Could you tell us a little bit about that, what that is?
Yeah, so we have the Patrick Woepse Foundation, which I think like pretty quickly after I was like, I want to do something for him. Like the next day or maybe the following day, we did swim. Like obviously Pat loved to swim in the ocean.
Socials. We just put something together and, Maddie texted the crew and everyone showed up.
Yeah, it was great.
It was actually very Patrick. It was cold, windy, currenty, and like big waves.
Kaylee's like, I got this.
No, I had a paddle. Tom wanted to swim. And it was like, Tom, like you're gonna like no, and he did it.
Yeah, there's some like saying in one of his eulogies from his friend. It was like, it's too warm and glassy for ocean swim today. Like he wanted it bad. Like he wanted it cold. He wanted it hot.
He was totally.
So we went a couple days later, and I think it was good to get people who didn't get to say bye or like hadn't been around his family to like come together, and we were all just on the beach, and we did like he did a morning ocean swim before work, so he would go from 31st Street to the pier and back.
Wow.
Or 34th Street, sorry. Yeah, to the pier and back. So it's like a little over a mile, like 1.2 to 4. And so once we did that swim, I kind of was like, how cool would it be to like gather people every year to not only like remember him, but to swim in awareness for this cancer. Like this cancer has nothing. And I think when he passed, I also started learning a lot more and working in, I want to I'm in PA school right now. So I want to work in healthcare, and you want to push things forward now that you've lost someone to something and there's no options. Like now that I know what I know, like there's no options for someone who gets diagnosed with this cancer. And so I was like, would it be cool to like carry his legacy? Pat did crazy things. So like cool to do an ocean swim, like something crazy every year that like honors his life. And you're swimming in awareness for something that needs so much help and so much funding and support. And that's kind of where that sparked, was at that swim a couple days later. And I think people probably thought I was a little crazy, like, oh, you probably need to mourn and like be sad. And there's moments where obviously I'm really sad, but I don't want to live my life sad forever. Like I'm going to be sad in moments, and then I want to be able to put my, left foot forward all the time and do something that's impactful. And the foundation was like a perfect place to put my energy and my love for him, because he was no longer here. And, we didn't have kids. We didn't have something that I can like tangibly see from him. And this foundation's like a perfect place to put it. And so created the foundation in his name. And we have an award at UCLA that's also in his name, where a player that made the most impact culturally wins an award in Pat's name. And then we'll be doing a swim every year and different events to raise awareness for neck carcinoma, which will be obviously a sad reason, but exciting and impactful with his legacy.
Yeah, that's incredible. I got to come to the next one.
September 26th. Hopefully. Well,
you got the day already?
I do. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't know I was going to announce it on it.
Sure. I was like, I haven't heard this one yet.
Sure thing. So actually, January 3rd, you're gone, but we have a Patrick Woepse Foundation Rare Cancer Awareness and Community event, and we're doing just pop-up vendors like these small companies in Newport area that are donating 20% to the foundation. And we actually just made 10 grand donation to Stanford University. They have a Crabtree lab that's studying that carcinoma, and I love the work that they're doing at the team, and kind of putting funds in different areas in different buckets, because the cancer is so rare that there's not like millions of places that are studying it.
Yeah.
So you actually get to really build like an intimate relationship with people that care about cancer. And I know that sounds weird, but like they're studying it and they're dedicating their whole lives to it. And so I don't think you think much of it until it happens to you personally, that you really care so much to support it. And so we made our first big donation of 2025, which was exciting. And then we'll do this event on January 3rd. And then the swim will be usually in August, September of every year. His birthday is August 10th. So, but it's the summer, so it's really hectic. And so we're going to do September kind of right before our anniversary, which will be fun.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
And
you can paddle or you can
Paddle
swim.
it, yeah.
or on.
Longboard, swim, fins, whatever.
My husband Tom will love that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely come.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. And it's cool. We talk, someone will speak, whether it's a friend or family, about Pat's legacy. And he swam that again every morning before work. And it's not supposed to be comfortable. And like his motto of "we can do hard things," I think people have really embraced. And I hear about it, stories of him all the time because of that swim that they got to experience. So we did it on his celebration of life weekend. We did it. And we got a great turnout. It was awesome. Yeah, waves were huge. That one was bad. Yeah. I think that's the one we're talking
That's
about.
what I was talking
Like
about.
my sister.
It was like this crazy west wind swell, and like Lackey's was overhead.
Oh no.
And
It was bad.
yeah, and
I felt
there was
that.
current because the west winds were just like howling. And I remember I was messaging Mark. Mark sent me a photo of Surfline.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's
He
like,
was like, shit.
dude, it's kind of big. And it was like his head high off the pier where you touch the pier
Yeah.
and go back.
Right.
And we're like, all right.
Is west wind? Sorry, would that make it faster on the way there and the way back? Because I feel like the way back was horrible.
The way down, yeah, because it's pushing this way. So the way back is really hard. So you think you're halfway, but you're like,
you
no.
weren't moving, and like, so Pat always touched the pier. So I told everyone, and the lifeguard, of course, was like, "Hey, be careful around the pier. Don't touch the pier." And so I took the microphone and I was like, "Coach, guys, just so you know, Pat touched the pier."
About to finish it. Well, just in case you guys need to get out.
I feel like he's like, "What would Pat do if you got out?"
That's amazing.
There's no safety protocols.
The second time I had to make it more safety, but that first time, like we had a lifeguard boat and people took hours. I was like, I feel so bad, but like, people wanted to do it. I'm like, go for it, but like, be safe. I mean, the swell was big. Like my brother-in-law couldn't get out on his board. I felt so.
Yeah, it was hectic, but that was bad. Like,
It seems like it.
Yeah. So technically that was like the second time, but then we had like our official foundation setup event in August last year, or in this past August. And that was like our first annual Patrick Woepse Foundation in swim, and good turnout, like 300 plus people. It was organized. It was
great.
Cap. So we had pink caps on, Speedos. And I also made a comment like, Pat always wore Speedo, like wetsuits, not a lot. And so all the boys wore Speedos and people were like shivering after. Good thing it was August, so it was pretty warm.
And Tom like this swim.
Tom did the two gnarly ones, and he was actually golfing, so he got out of got it in August.
You got out of the best one.
You got about it was like the water's like 69 pristine condition.
For-
So he got out
I
of
love hard ones.
but he was wearing wetsuits and he put his Speedo over his wetsuit. And I had to like guide him. But he was determined.
But he did it.
So it's been exciting, and I'm hopeful that like a lot of good is to come out of the foundation. And I think now that I might be working in healthcare, I don't know what I'll be doing like specifically if I go into oncology or whatever specialty. I think having the foundation to like care for and to like push forward, like if I could help fund medicine one day to like have the first survivor of like stage 4 nut carcinoma would be really cool. And I don't think there's been a survivor of nut carcinoma in the lung. Like how cool would it be to have Pat's story motivate someone to do something like that? And I've gotten, met a lot of people. I've gotten so many connections to families who've lost loved ones to the same cancer, and creating that connection through loss is hard, but I think it's, all you want to do is honor them. And when you have people who are doing that for their loved one, you get a pretty special group of people together to do something special. So it's been exciting meeting them and seeing what we can do together. And Pat's foundation, hopefully, can make a difference one day.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Can you share a little bit? Obviously, grief is so tricky and so individualized and unique, but I think I'm sure going to be a lot of listeners that have grief for whatever reason. Can you share a little bit about your journey? I know it's the beginning of a long journey, a forever journey for you, but just what you've learned and maybe what works for you, what maybe doesn't, just thoughts and feelings that you have with grief.
Yeah, grief's hard. I think you have somewhat of a perception of what you think it might look like, and people share like, grief is different every day, and that for sure is true. Like grief hits you in the weirdest ways and the weirdest moments. And I think at first I kind of like put a wall up to them to not really feel it. Like I'd be like, oh yeah, that's grief. And like, I'm going to go do this instead and not feel the feeling that it brought. And, there's grief with everything. There's grief with just the fact that he's not here and like the things that I have to do alone. But there's also grief with, comparison or like, oh, I don't have that anymore. And my friends are all having this, or, I'm in school and I'm navigating this alone. Like I should have my partner, or even like things you should be really excited about, but they don't feel as exciting because like your partner's not here. Yeah. And so I've had to navigate not sheltering it away and just being like, yeah, that sucks. Like grief, this is grief. Like this is what it feels like. It's heavy. It can like knock you out. Like I don't think I've realized how exhausting it is to feel it, but it's almost more exhausting to not feel it. And so my like biggest piece that I've learned, especially going into year 2, is just to feel it. And if that means saying no to something, like I'm such a yes person to plans, and people say I do a little too much. But I think that's just the way I've always been. But I think that's why I haven't felt grief that much. And now I'm feeling it. And I've selfishly said no to things, and I'm in school and I'm like diving into this next chapter that Pat was so excited for me about, and he wanted me to do it. So like, why would I not do that wholeheartedly? And I cried a lot more than I have in the last year, and I think it's been good. And to be mad and like be mad at the situation, I don't think I've really felt, because I am so faithful and hopeful that it feels wrong to be mad. But I think it's valid to be frustrated with what God put in your life. And again, I go back to like what I said before, is like I feel like in the past, the things I feared, God has protected me from and like made me not experience those things because it like interfered with the ways that I went about things. Yet when I've experienced this fear of like losing someone, I've been offered so much grace in it that it's been really pushed me to have a stronger faith than I ever thought was possible. And it's me looking at faith more hopefully in that, like, okay, this is going to navigate really beautiful things to come. And, I know I don't want to be alone forever, and I'm going to meet someone that's going to meet me right here in this grief and be so beautiful in it. And they're going to honor Pat and they're going to love Pat. And I'm going to have a really bright future, even though it might have not been what I wanted or what I want. It's definitely opened my eyes to the possibilities of what this life can bring, because I'm sure there'll be other adversities that I face or my friends face, and I get to share that grief with them and be almost like tangible and relatable in it if I'm feeling it myself. And so this last year has been, or I guess the last couple months since it's been a year, has been a little bit more raw than it has been in the past. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I think it takes time, and I think it's different. And that's why I think grief is so weird.
It's so different for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, they say that. It's like, and I think you're right. I mean, my husband reminded me sharing, but he lost a sibling a few years ago, and it's definitely like it comes in the weirdest times, like we said, and it's so. I think it's been coming up on 4 years here, and I think it does almost get harder in a way, like the second year, from what I noticed or just felt as a spouse, and I think he would say the same thing as you, though, just like, you just got to feel it and do what's best for you, because and everyone understands too. Yeah. Like everyone understands. They're going to be fine if you say no to something.
Yeah.
If you don't want to come on the podcast, please tell us next time. But whatever it is. Yeah. Well, you're a warrior. You're incredible.
Thank you.
Keep it going. Yeah.
Will you share a little bit about what's next for you? I know you mentioned Marshall B. Ketchum. You're taking a little break from water polo, maybe forever, maybe for now.
I'll see. Like one more comment on grief really quick. I think when you had shared that, thanks for sharing that. It's nice I think grief, again, it's it's unavoidable and people are going to experience it at some point in our lives. You know, unfortunately, we're all going to lose our parents. Unfortunately, we're all going to lose the people we love most at some point. And again, I think when you lose someone young and then you have to like navigate that by yourself, obviously you have people around you, but you're navigating it by yourself, like your own feelings around it. It's valid, and no one's journey is the same. I think that's what I've learned as well, as like people are going to grieve differently.
Yeah.
And why am I getting frustrated over someone grieving the way they need to grieve? And I think that's been a learning curve for sure. So as I go into this next chapter, I'm in PA school, which has been like so fun. And it's like so different than water polo. And I guess PA school is physician assistant school for all those who don't know. And it's a 2-year program, 27 months of just grueling, sitting from 8 to 5 for the first year. And then you go out and you like learn for the second year. And it's been cool. It's been eye-opening to like how water polo translates and sport translates into like committing to something new and like doing something different. And I'm just super excited to pursue it. And again, maybe I'll work in oncology, maybe I'll work in something completely different. But I think taking care of Pat and nurturing that relationship and taking care of someone is a really special role to have. And, you know, we had amazing caretakers, we had amazing doctors, but we also had people where I was like, gosh, I want to do a better job. Like, I want to take care of someone the way that like I got to care for Pat. Like, to have someone come in and you feel loved and cared for as like a patient, I think is a really important relationship. And so I'm really excited to like put that into action. Hopefully don't have any like PTSD from doing it with Pat, but to do it lovingly and be able to pray for my patients and like care for them in a way that I don't think a lot of providers do, I think will be exciting. And yeah, I'm stepping away from water polo right now and embracing this journey that I have. And who knows, I graduate in November 27 and to see where my life will go. I'm not sure if water polo is in the picture, but I'm really confident where my feet are right now. And if I get too ahead of myself, then too much will happen at the same time. So yeah.
Well, it's really interesting too, because you've always dreamt of being a caregiver to some degree, you know, whether it was a doctor or PA school, and just the journey that has gotten to where you are today is
it's pretty, it's weird to think about.
Yeah.
Like, again, I mentioned like my dad getting his health issues. Like, I was, oh, I'm going to work in medicine.
Yeah.
And then my husband gets sick and I'm like literally a caretaker. Yeah. Like, wait, this is so weird. Oh my gosh, I just got into PA school. Like, I got into PA school right before you got diagnosed. And so it's just like the timeline of like learning what I learned. Like, I hope I'm a really good provider, like given what I've experienced. So
you'll be the best.
I'm like excited to like see what that looks like and have my friends be my patients or like, whatever it is, like take care of them. And you get the time I have that like special connection with people that it's a very vulnerable space. And so to have someone who cares and like knows like personally, I'm not sure I'll share my story all the time with my patients, but to know it's like, I would hope that I could care the way that I care for them. So
Amazing.
Wow. Well, thank you. We're gonna
of course.
before we end it, we're gonna wrap it up. This section, we have one question you're gonna answer. If you could send a voice memo to your younger self, what would it be?
Wow, you guys are so deep today. This is a pretty deep episode. But it's good. I think you have to have the meaningful conversations and the deep conversations. Voice memo. I mean, it would have to be like what I just talked about for a while is like, you can do hard things. Like, I think growing up in sport, you know, you're pushed the limit and you're told that and you just do it. But then you have something like really big life happen to you. And I probably would say that, you know, keep your head up, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you'll be surprised by the things that you can do that you probably didn't think that you could do.
Amazing. Love it. Well, thanks for coming. One of the best, Maddie Woepse, one of the best water polo players in the entire world.
Wow.
Yeah, a stud of an athlete, an absolute gem of a human, and very excited for you to come onto the pod. And we're looking forward to watching the Patrick Woepse grow.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
We can do great things, all of us.
Let's